It is 6 o'clock on the 26th of December. Needed to address the elephant in the room. It's Johnna. Johnna, when you were just 6 months old, your mother tried to beat you to death. It wasn't the first time that she had tried to kill you either. She had gotten herself drunk, had a seizure, and nearly drowned in a tub in a motel room where she was the only person who knew where she was, with the exception of the state and a couple other people. If persons had not beaten down the door and rescued her, she would have drowned. Her intent was to drown herself and let you starve to death. That was her intent. On June 8th of 2004, I filed a case against the state of Maine. The case was that your mother had tried to kill you. The state of Maine had known about it and had nearly let it happen. They had imposed themselves in several places where persons had tried to save you, and they had done even worse to you. On June 9th, 2004, police officers came to take you away from me. 12 of them. They all had their guns pulled. And it's on that day that I lost you that you basically died. Because everything that you could have been, everything that you should have been, everything that we as a family would have been, died. Your sister was born not too long after that. Your sister got caught up in this. Jamie. Both of you were taken from me as punishment for exposing what the state did. Then a third sister, Jordan. Because I would continue to expose what the state did. You were placed with a family that you spent 2 years with and then were adopted to. Family who knew who I was. They knew they could have let you go home at any time. They knew that. But they chose not to because they were pieces of shit who had done this to other children, taken them from parents. A couple of them might have been deserving, but most of them were good parents who got caught up in the foster care process, and this family cared more about the illusion that they loved their children than telling their children the truth. Eventually, the state tried to funnel you back to your mother. For a couple months they did. And then she abused you again. And I say all of that to say that I still love you. I still want you to come home. I know that this is probably not going to pass the ward. I'm sneaking it into a bunch of videos to Pammy Trudeau. But I do want you to know that I love you. I love your sister. You have a brother. You have another sister. And I hope someday that you all can be happy. Being split is a hard thing. I never wanted you taken away. It certainly was not my choice in the matter. When you have 12 people with guns, what are you supposed to do? Go out in a hail of bullets? You'd still be taken away. I fought in the courts for years after that moment. For at least 5 years. I fought much longer after that politically. Still fighting. Right as I'm making this video, I'm still fighting. You're a teenager now. You got your period. Congratulations. Getting closer to the day when you can come home. And I hope on that day when that happens, we will never be what we could be, but I hope on that day that we can be what we should be, which is daddy and daughter. You'll go on, you'll have kids. I'll be there to babysit, I promise. And of course, we're going to have to rebuild trust, because the trust was murdered. Not by us. Mostly by Pammy and her friends. Hi, Pammy. Since that time, we've kind of grown different. Me, I've changed religions. I feel better about my life. I'm in a wheelchair. Most of that's your mom's fault. When I put myself between you and her, did a number on my back, I would have been in a wheelchair much earlier in life if I hadn't been so stubborn. But certainly that didn't help. And it took 10 years after that, but it finally happened. I enjoy life now, though. I'm not bound to those type of things. But it is worth mentioning that it makes some things harder. It's a lot of stories I'd like to tell you, but I don't have time. I've got to cut this off at about 12 minutes. I want you to know that the most important thing is that I never stopped loving or holding hope that you would come home. Ever. I know that it was a matter of time. So, on the off chance that you get to see this, there's that you always will have that option. And I know that the life that you have lived your whole life is a lie. Of people saying they love you, because clearly they don't. They take you from a parent who does love you because they're selfish. That's not love. That's gluttony. That's certainly envy. Don't hold it against them too much. I mean, after all, they're only a product of their alignment. Their alignment's evil, don't get me wrong, but some people can't help that. And it could be that, I can't say they didn't know, because they certainly did. And there's certainly going to be a point where that's going to be discussed. They knew they were evil. Anyone who takes a child from a loving parent is, by all accounts, evil. But I would definitely not hold that against them. Must be forgiving of people. If not, it eats away at your soul. I want you to understand that you do have the power to fix, to heal what was taken. And I hope you exercise that power. is up to you. And as I say this, I have said a hell of a lot more to Pammy. I call her Pammy. It gets under her skin. Pamela Trudeau of Cumberland, Maine. That I also hope that you don't hold against me, that you were held against your will, against my will, by these evil people for the bulk of your life, simply out of their own vanity. And a lot of these people, like Pammy Trudeau, wanted you dead. They hope you die. If you die, they get a bigger paycheck. I hope you live. I hope you come home. And I hope we eventually heal. And it's in that hope that I am going to say this one last thing. If we don't in this life, I will see you in the next life. The afterlife. I made a lot of mistakes, and you paid for them. I didn't make a mistake in telling the public about what happened to you. That's not a mistake, but you certainly paid for that. The mistake was not taking you away from that psychopathic person who nearly murdered you on the 27th of May, 2004, at 420 Danforth Street in Portland. And that's my fault, and that's on me. And I had other chances before that to take you. And I didn't. But most of all, I had a chance to let your mom die and take you. And they always have that saying, if I knew then what I know now. I don't know that I would not have let her die. I do know that I miss you every day. And I did make that terrible decision to let her live, and it nearly cost you your life. And if that's the only thing that I have to say I'm sorry about, then I'm sorry. And the next time we see each other, I plan to give you a big hug. I plan to tell you everything that's happening in your brother and sister's lives. And I hope when you see this, they say everything that gets put on the internet lasts forever. I hope when you see this, you know that it is my genuine, heartfelt feelings. Of all of the other things, of all of the other videos I have done throughout these past few days, this one is the most important. Because of all of the other videos that I have done these past few days, this is the one that's most real. You're held in a prison of lies. I can't do anything about that, other than say I'm sorry. And I hope someday all of those people who hurt you for all of these years, for these 15 plus years, the little girl that they murdered, they took away everything that she could be, everything that she should have been. I do hope that they say to you, I'm sorry too. Well, I said 12 minutes and I'm way over that. So, with any luck, it's almost over. And we'll be back together again. It seems like an eternity, but it's only been 15 years. What's a few more? Till then, I love you, I miss you, and good luck.